Welcome again to Frank Talk Show, and today we are going to be talking about corruption and transparency in Nigerian government. We are not talking about, we are not actually focusing on whether the federal government alone. We have 3 tiers of government. We will be talking about all of them. We are talking about the federal government, the state government, and of course the local government, where for me is actually the major focus, where the citizens should actually focus more on, because for me, around the world, it is a basic fact that governance is local in nature, and if we are going to reach the people, we need to focus more on the lowest cadre of government. So welcome again to Frank Talk Show. Today we are going to be discussing the issue of corruption and transparency in Nigeria government. And just like I said, we are going to be looking at the 3 tiers of government. For me, corruption is a major problem in Nigeria. It's been estimated that corruption cost the country billions of dollars. We all know that it's actually costing us a lot. If you look at what we have in the issue of oil bunkering, people trading in dollars, in illegal forex, and the rest of them. So it is a known fact that corruption is actually costing Nigeria billions of dollars each year. It is also undermined. It's also undermined the rule of law. Of course, when you bribe, when you use money to induce the people that are meant to give justice, it will actually undermine the rule of law and prevent the government from providing essential services to the citizens. When a lot of people that are in government are actually involved in the process of financial corruption, it becomes very difficult. The financial power of government really becomes very low. So this actually is a known fact that it actually reduces the power of government to do more for their citizens. And for me, we need to know that corruption is a complex problem with no easy solution at hand presently. However, there are a number of things that can be done to actually salvage the situation. This includes strengthening the anti-corruption agency, improving transparency in government, which is part of those things that we have been fighting for. We've talked about the government should adopt open government partnership. At state level, any government that is not adopting open government partnership, then the citizens should know that they have skeleton in their cupboard. So we need to ensure that at state level, open government should be welcome. I will appreciate Kaduna state government for adopting OGP. In fact, they are the only subnational government, that is state government, that you can actually find at the global stage of open government partnership. So government should actually we should improve on transparency in government and educate the public about the dangers of corruption, because even the public themselves, we used to say some things, which is a common thing that people say now, that those people that are in government are not the only one that is corrupt. Those that are outside of government are only waiting for their chance to actually do dangers in terms of corruption in government as well. If they have their own chance, they will also take their turn too. So we need to educate ourselves as citizens that corruption in itself is actually a danger to us, not just the people in government. And also, transparency is essential to fight corruption, which is a basic fact. When government activities are transparent, it is more difficult for corrupt officials to hide their activities. So when transparency is just the basis, we need to ensure that there's transparency. And how do we do it? There are a number of ways to improve transparency in government, such as introducing making public record. We need to make public record. We need to make them open and accessible. Not just open, we need to make them accessible. Like for example, we come up with budget. Let the budget be in the public domain. It shouldn't be something that we even be writing FOI before we can get them. Let them be available in a space where people can actually get them. Let there be audit report. The audit report, don't let it stay for 2 years. You imagine getting the audit report of a particular year in like 3 years. I don't want to mention any government. So and then maybe if there is a way we can actually solve this in terms of in the process of using what we call e-governance. Maybe e-governance can actually solve some of this problem that we are talking about. So government should we should focus on and promoting e-governance, whereby technology, we allow technology in its true sense to actually to thrive in our government, not just rendering services but electronic form of services. We have a very good example of that when the Electoral Act 2022 was enacted. It makes it very difficult for election to be rigged, and that's why we have a whole lot of hula baloo in the court presently. So for me, I believe that if government can actually adopt e-governance and allow the e-governance to work effectively, then we are going to reduce corruption and corruption in Nigeria. And also the Nigerian government has taken some step. I believe Nigerian government has taken some step to fight corruption, but more needs to be done. We need to do more, because we don't like criticizing government, but just telling you that the anti-corruption agency needs to be strengthened. Don't just use them. The government should not use anti-corruption agency as the instrument in their hands. I don't want to mention any agency, but we know those agencies that we are talking about in Nigeria. We have EFCC, we have ICPC, we have those that are fighting in terms of drug, NDLEA, we have several others. Government should not use them as instrument or political instrument to fight their opponent. They should use them to actually fight corruption in the real sense of it. These agencies need to be strengthened and give them the resources they need to do their job, and free them, allow them to perform their job unvetted, under law. I'm not saying that you should give them free hand for them to go against the law, but under the law. And the government also needs to do more to promote what we call transparent activities in those agencies that we are talking about. And also the Nigerian people also have a role to play in fighting corruption. They need to be aware of the dangers of corruption and be willing to report it when they see it. It is not just because it's your person doesn't mean that you should promote you should allow corruption to go. We should cover it. One thing that I think is paramount in this country is the fact that when it is our tribe, I tell people that one of those ideologies that is killing Nigeria is, if it's my tribe, it is not wrong, but if it's another tribe, it's actually wrong. So we need to actually speak up when we notice corruption. We need to the Nigerian people, we need to actually play our role and speak up. When you see something, say something. Then people will say that if you say something, like the issue of whistleblower, you might actually get caught tangled in the web. Yes, but that is why we need to call on the government to actually ensure that whistleblowers are well protected. They need to be aware. Nigerians need to be aware of the danger of corruption and be willing to report it when you see one. Someone who was supposed to give a medicine, drugs for free, and the person is actually selling it in your neighborhood at a cheaper price and you are buying from it, then automatically you are actually part of that corrupt system. We also need to demand transparency from our government. Like I said, I've always been saying it. Nigerians are not speaking enough because we don't seem to be active citizens. Don't let me bore you more. Let's quickly go for musical break. Yes, welcome back. This is Frank Talk Show with Femi once again. Corruption is a serious problem, seriously, but it is not insurmountable. It is actually, we can actually surmount this. So how do we surmount it? We need to strengthen the anti-corruption agency, improve transparency in government, educate the public. Nigeria can make progress in the fight against corruption if we are ready for it. All of us, we need to do it. We all need to do it together. It's not just one person. It is not the job of government alone to fight corruption. If the government is doing its own part and the citizens are not doing their own part, we are not going to achieve it. Go and look at it around the world, everywhere around the world, where corruption is being beaten to its minimum. The citizens are actually playing their own roles. In those senile crimes where we are running to, when people overspeed, in fact, citizens will have reported before the constituted authority even know. When they notice that there's something that is going on in their neighborhood that is odd, they will have reported to the authorities. So these are part of the places on which we need to understand what corruption is, and we need to play our part. And at this point, I want to say thank you very much, because I don't want to waste much of your time, because I'll still be coming back here. Thank you for listening to this special edition. We hope that you find it informative, of course, and we will continue to follow these important issues and report on the progress that is being made in Nigeria. Let me quickly say this to you. This has been the Frank Talk Show. Join us next time for more information and the word of activation to be an active citizen once again. We'll use several analyses. We're not going to bore you with statements with baseless statements that are baseless, but we're going to use facts to engage and tell you what you need to do as active citizens of Nigeria. Thank you. My name is John Oluwafemi Ola, and this is Frank Talk Show with Femi. Thank you.